Okay, hi. This is Two People in a Podcast with your hosts Zach and Kate, and we have a guest, Carter, who
Wow,
is
I'm a guest.
sorry, peasant. Um, yeah. So if you don't know Carter, he is Carter, and he is from Minnesota,
Yeah,
Carter,
and
I am.
yeah,
he's from bonus level. I mean, you know that because why would you watch there's like little difference between the shows, to be honest with you, other than how they're made and what they're about, which is all the differences. But but everybody would probably be, if anybody that would be listening to us would probably be listening to both things anyways. So if you don't know Jesus voice crack, if you don't know who Carter is, then leave.
Yeah,
leave.
leave.
No, but don't leave. Stay.
This is the
please.
first episode that you're listening to. I forgot this isn't a video.
Yeah. Um. But anyway,
Ooh.
check him out. Check him out. Check him
Look at him,
out.
dude.
Wow.
Dang, Carter. Dang it, dude.
Damn,
What the hell?
Carter, you're sexy.
Carter, what the hell, dude?
Okay,
Yeah.
Carter with his beard and sunglasses is a new
Yeah.
look, dude.
I like it. I'm gonna get those blue light glasses that look exactly the same, so that way I can just have that look always.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you look cool, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you should listen to us, obviously. Listen to our other episodes. We have a YouTube, a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have a website. It's
Twitter.
a Twitter. It's www. Wait, how many W's is that?
www.
.tpaap.com. That's our website.
TPAP. Oh, did we do that? We didn't do that on purpose, did we?
No.
Wait, who are we? We're 2PAP, right? So wait,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Two people.
Okay, yeah.
Very close to PPAP, which is everybody makes that. Why wouldn't you? It's a deadbeat.
Yeah. I know it's been a while since our last proper episode of Two People in a Podcast, but
Sorry.
we're it's like that one cable thing from South Park where they get their nipples out and they're like, "I'm sorry."
No, that was the oil people. The people that did the oil spill. How else
Oh
can
yeah.
you say that we're sorry? We're
We're
sorry.
sorry. But it's a meaningless sorry, so that's all you get is just a meaningless sorry.
Yep.
Ah.
It's just because we have lives, so don't get mad.
Yeah. I don't expect anyone to get mad because I don't expect people to listen to us. But
People don't listen to us, but I don't think they'd be. Why would you get mad at somebody for I don't know, for something like that? Like, oh, I'm so mad at you now. It's like, what? Okay. Podcast.
it's that thing where they're obsessed with us and they're mad
It's
at
not
us,
like we
so
haven't
they
been
try to
making
murder us.
We still have been doing those news episodes, but it's like it is nice to make these kind of episodes again. I like analyzing stuff with you guys.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about Netflix's comedy special, Inside by Bo Burnham,
Yeah,
which is a cool name.
Inside Bo Burnham.
Comedy.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about that soon. Well, actually, I'm going to talk about it right now. So it's a comedy special, but it's not like your traditional comedy special. It's not a stand-up act. It's more of just this self-made performance by Bo Burnham. And is it even really a comedy? You could argue, because
I mean, some
it
parts of it
definitely.
are.
Yeah, some parts of it are, but it definitely blurs the line between like what genre of something it is.
It's like
What would you say?
it's like a funny
What
documentary.
what other what would you say it would be besides, because you would say it's depressing to a certain extent, right? Like what does that make it?
Depressing.
A ballad of I don't know, a vlog, a YouTube vlog, but the guy's depressed.
A very high quality YouTube vlog.
One that took a year to make.
And one that has a little bit, the one that does have deeper meaning to it, other than a person going, "Hi, this is my life. I'm the main character."
Yeah. So before I talk about Bo Burnham and explain his past, do you guys have any experience with Bo Burnham besides Inside?
I just know he's a comedian. That's it.
I know some of his other songs.
Yeah, I
Just a
mean
couple.
he's pretty popular in like YouTube. He came
YouTube.
from YouTube, and he pretty much he's one of the OG YouTubers, you could say. Like who's another OG YouTuber? Smosh, Shane
Okay.
Dawson. Shane Dawson is a
Oh,
bad
God.
example because we don't talk about Shane Dawson now because he
I mean,
talked
yeah.
about.
I remember my mom watching Shane Dawson back in the day.
Oh God. What about the one guy? The one dude? I forgot. Damn it! I don't remember anything about him. I just know he was really popular. What was his name?
What kind of content did he make?
He was like, didn't he do like top tens or whatever? I know he stood in front of a camera and he had like a really messy like background. Like his wall was like had stuff all over it.
Oh, Ray William Johnson.
Yeah, him.
Yeah,
Sounds
he
like
was.
sounds like a famous musician.
Boogie 2588. I'm not sure if Boogie was that old. I don't remember.
I think he was, but he didn't like. He didn't. People
Wasn't
didn't
as
know the
big.
original him. Yeah, he's he's in
Newground's
Arkansas, by the way.
Yeah,
is?
I did.
Yeah, he lives in Arkansas.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it's from Fort
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is too.
I don't think
That is cool.
anywhere
You don't
else in
expect
Arkansas.
anyone to be in our state. Yeah, Boogie 2988, Ray William Johnson, Smosh, those kind of YouTubers. His name is Robert Pickering, which is a weird name. Burnham.
Zach.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be discriminatory against last names. I mean, my last name's weird, so it's okay. But he's known as Bo Burnham.
Cool. My last name's
It's a-
Scott. I just heard somebody that had the last name like what was it? Fucking Blood Chosen or something like that. Like anybody that has blood in their last name, that's so cool.
It's scary.
that
I
is
feel like they're a
cool.
vampire, you know?
Dude, I want to be a vampire. Are you kidding me? You get to live forever and bite people? Sign me up.
I mean, you
And
can bite someone right now, but like,
Yeah.
you're not gonna
Yeah,
be able
but
to
you
suck
don't
your
get to
blood.
live forever. That's the thing.
But dude, if you're a vampire, then you could legally bite people. You're forgetting
Yeah.
that.
If the teacher doesn't show up within the next 15 minutes, we can legally bite each other.
Yeah, that's messed up. We could legally lick each other's toes.
Yes. Ew, fun.
Anyway.
I remember we went to camp, people were super obsessed with that, and it's disgusting. Nobody ever washed their feet. Ugh.
Yummy.
Yeah.
So Bo was born August 21st, 1990 in Massachusetts. Yeehaw, because that's how people in Massachusetts are. He started getting popularity after uploading videos on YouTube in 2006. He started, as we said before, it was in the early age of YouTube, like 2 years after it was made, but while it wasn't still relevant or anything,
While
the
it
videos he
wasn't
uploaded
a dating site anymore.
Yes.
When
The
did it
video
not become a dating site? Was it even ever a dating site?
Yeah, the very first part was like you upload
Well, I mean,
videos like about you
yes,
and like the dating site.
technically it was, but did anybody actually ever like I want to see if there's like a couple or at least somebody that got with somebody because of that website.
Probably is.
maybe the creator. I'm sure the creator
Making a
of YouTube
website just to
got,
get with somebody.
yeah, well, because he's like famous and stuff, or at least he was.
YouTube.
I think it was like 3 guys. Yeah, and then they sold it to Google for billions of dollars. But anyway, the videos he upload. Yes, yes, because they wouldn't have been able to yeah, because like YouTube barely makes any money as it is, like because they have to have so much storage for all these videos and stuff.
Oh, so you're saying that like most of that money goes to maintaining those videos?
Yeah.
So like, what's even the
That's like-
point of maintaining YouTube then? I mean, it's a platform that's it's important, but other than it being something to connect people, what else is it for? Because you really can't make that much money off of it, right? So like, I don't know.
I mean, it
It's-
makes
I mean, you get
it makes billions of
sponsorships and
dollars.
shit.
Yeah, it makes billions of dollars in revenue. It's just that most of that goes to maintaining everything, but it still makes money, and it definitely like even if it doesn't make money directly, it helps Google make money indirectly with their other services because it promotes ads for things, stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, it's like integral part of our society at this point.
Yeah.
Basically. Imagine if YouTube just ended.
I mean, I don't know. Nobody around would really be able to make another YouTube without, like, having a large amount of money to be able to support the servers that house those videos on them. And the only people that be able to do that are the people that we already have problems with, like Jeff Bezos or whatever the fuck. So, like, actually, no, if Elon Musk made a YouTube channel, would you guys be okay with that? Or not a YouTube channel, a YouTube,
Like a new YouTube,
yeah.
Yeah,
new
I would.
tube, if you will.
YouTube.
I wouldn't mind that because I feel like he is very progressive with his ideas, so I think that he would listen to the content creators and establish ideas to, like, be able to improve the platform more. But at the same time, like, I don't know because it's harder than it looks. People complain about Google's service all the time, but I mean, what do you expect them to do? You know, they have to manage like millions upon millions of videos. I mean, I would say even billions. So
Billions at this point.
yeah, so like it's
Yeah.
harder than it looks. I don't know. It's not really something anybody else but them could do.
And I mean,
I
they can't.
I
Hold on, they don't even. They don't even have the capability to 100% keep up all those videos. Like some
Do they
old
delete
videos just get. Some of them do.
mine?
Like
I've
if
never noticed any videos that I have being deleted that are
I'm
like
talking about like
years ago.
13 years ago old. Like
yeah,
if I
like
have
for
I,
inactive accounts.
yeah, essentially. Like if no
What if
one
they're important videos?
cares, those might be saved. I'm not sure how Google decides what gets deleted and what doesn't, but it is kind of sad because the only way anything's ever gonna be safe and refindable if you enjoyed it is if you download it like to your own
Because
thing. That way you don't
even
have to worry about it.
yeah, even the content creator can delete it, which sucks because I have tons of videos where I save them and then they get deleted, and I don't even remember what they are. So like, I just don't have access to them ever again.
Anyway, the videos he uploaded were hilarious, catchy, and straight up impressive for a 16-year-old filming himself in the early age of the interwebs.
Oh boy,
Um,
it did not sound
people
good.
people took notice of his talent and stuff, and he was approached with a 4-year record deal from Comedy Central Records in 2008. He was the youngest person to do like have this kind of deal like with Comedy Central Records. He was 18. And in the same year, he released his debut EP called Bo Faux Show. In the interview, he explains the simplicity of his album and he says, I'm still a kid in his bedroom, writing songs and playing them. If the album were anything else, it would lose the whole DIY effect of how I started out. While moving on to bigger and better with his career, he returns to the same setting and even reminisces about his past and Inside. Bo released his second album in 2010 called Words, 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 along with a comedy special to go along with the album. His third album, or second comedy special, which was titled What, period, released as a Netflix special in 2013. And then he actually got his own MTV show called Zach Stone is Gonna Get Famous. It has the name Zach, so he obviously had good taste of choosing the character's name, you know?
Obviously, I
Um,
mean, he probably was referencing you.
yeah, I think so. But it only had one season. Regardless of that, though, it did
Was it good?
push. Yeah, it was well received and it pushed Bo more into the spotlight. But it would be in 2016 that Bo releases his latest, besides Inside, his last comedy special called Make Happy on Netflix. Make Happy is more hilarious than any of Bo's previous work, and it also explores some serious issues like Bo's strained relationship with his audience, which he talks about a lot in Inside. In the last song of the special titled Can't Handle This, open parenthesis, Kanye rant, close parenthesis, Bo explains that whenever he went to Kanye West Yeezus tour near the end of and this was near the end of the show, Kanye West decided to do a 20-minute rant over his problems, like his t-shirts not selling, his $90 t-shirts not selling.
Well, it's
It was
$90.
his t-shirts, Kanye West t-shirts.
No,
He
I
was
know, but like,
complaining
why is he complaining about something that's $90?
because he wants to be a billionaire, dude. He wants his t-shirts to sell. Kanye does. So during this rant, Bo said that like Kanye used like autotune to like mask his voice and he had like these important sounding chords in the background. You know how it's like kind of like a motivational speech thing where
Yeah.
it like you just put important chords in the background and auto-tune your voice, and you sound way more important. And then
It's like
Bo,
formatting your video, like formatting an essay as like a video essay, and then saying that because it's a video essay, it kind of proves the point that it's right because of the fact that it's a video essay, like because you put that much effort in it.
yes. Bo complains about not being able to fit his hand inside a Pringles can for basically the entire song. Like, it's funny. He's like, yeah, he says, he's like, my problems aren't as big as, or Bo says that his problems are not as high stakes as Kanye, but he has problems. And then he proceeds to talk about the Pringles can. And he has the auto tune and important sounding chords that Kanye had, basically, like in the song.
I can't fit my hand inside a Pringle can. I have a huge amount of trouble fitting my hand inside of a Pringle can. I can get my hand like 4 inches into the can, but then I have to tilt the can into my mouth. But by that point, a bunch of crumbs have accumulated at the bottom of the can, so they all go spilling onto my face. What I'm trying to say is the diameter of Pringle cans is way too small. I'll say it again, the diameter of Pringle cans is way too small. 2 radiuses of a Pringle can is way too small. If you feel me, put your hands up. Come on. If you feel me, put your hands up.
And okay, so basically, besides that, the rest of the song plays out with Bo complaining about his everyday problems, like being self-conscious about working out or spilling his Chipotle burrito on himself because it's too full, mundane stuff like that. Which I think helps gives Bo Burnham like a sense of relatability, as opposed to Kanye, who is a billionaire and who sells his $90 t-shirts that people can't afford, apparently. I don't know. But Bo finally reveals his actual like insecurities near the end of the song. So at the end of the show, Bo says, I can sit here and pretend like my biggest problems are Pringles cans and burritos, but the truth is, my biggest problem is you. I want to please you. I want to stay true to myself. I want to give you the night out that you deserve, but I want to say what I think and not care about what you think about it. A part of me loves you, a part of me hates you. And then his final words to end the show off are, thank you, good night, I hope you're happy. While this is all the audience who attended the show live would see, viewers of the Netflix special are greeted to Bo walking off stage and playing a slow piano melody to himself. After he finishes this melody, he opens the door, which leads to his backyard. It's weird because they use CGI or something to do that, because he wouldn't actually the stage where
Was
he
it in his backyard? Yeah.
yeah. But it shows him walk outside, and he is greeted by his dog and his girlfriend. And this is random. I'm sorry to say this, but okay, so Bo's 30, right? And his girlfriend, guess
Yeah.
her age.
43.
You're right, 43.
Wait, what?
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Holy shit.
Did you not know beforehand? Because I was really surprised.
No.
Like,
they came out of no. I literally just said a random number.
oh, okay. Well, yeah, she's 43.
Oh, it's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm getting caught up over like a coincidence, but that was so cool.
No, that is really cool. You're right. Make Happy examines the complicated relationship of Bo and his audience while also exploring Bo's pursuit of happiness. Even though it's impossible for happiness to last forever, Bo Burnham reminds us to appreciate what we have in life, even if it's only there for a little bit. Make Happy was a success with fans and critics, and it was cited as pushing the bar for comedy. But unfortunately, this special would be the last we see of him for a
Forever you
while.
die.
Dun dun dun. Play the Law and Order sounds.
Da-da.
Good job.
Today, we are going to be analyzing and discussing the meaning of Bo Burnham's Inside.
You sound like a good person.
Yes. Okay, so just a warning, we will have to talk about this special deals with stuff like suicide and some existential thoughts and whatnot, and anxiety and depression.
So if you don't like that, then leave.
Get the fuck out, you depressed bitch.
Yeah, fuck you for being depressed.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
bye.
Basically, like that's basically
No.
like Saw. That's like fuck you for being depressed.
Okay, so if you guys could summarize Inside in less than 2 sentences, how would you describe it? Like just your synopsis of it.
Carter, you can go first.
Kate, you could go first.
Okay. Uh, um, I actually wanted Carter to go first so I could think about it. Let's see. So first sentence, I would say I would divide that. Okay, so I'm gonna put the first sentence, and I'm gonna use that to describe the funny parts of the movie. I think that for first sentence, I would say the movie does what you claim his past work has done and pushes the bar for criticizing different things that many people, well, if they do criticize it, don't criticize it heavily enough. Like, I remember a lot of times he talked about some things that I just didn't think about that were like, yeah, this is bullshit. So I liked that part of the movie. And then, like, if you would want a specific example, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to think about it a little bit more because it's been a bit since I've watched the movie. But I remember that being part of the movie. And I'd say the other part of the movie, and he uses comedy to do that. So I'd say, like, if I'm making a sentence out of it, it'd be like, he uses Bo Burnham uses comedy to criticize society and teach a lesson. And then the second part is, but he also um, is able to show that there are that it's even deeper than like what you would first see through like the latter parts of it, where like where it talks about his depression and things that are honestly very relatable to at least me. I'm sure you too, but I was able to identify with a lot of the stuff that he talked about with like how he just felt like he wasn't enough and that a lot of sometimes he felt like unfulfilled and that I mean I know one thing that he said or one thing that he struggled with was just kind of had the isolation. Like he was just not around anybody. Um, and like how even after he came out of isolation, I don't know. This is how I interpreted it, but I remember at the end of the film, he just wanted to go back inside. Which is kind of like, yeah, like even after like we're finally being let free of this whole pandemic, it's kind of it's kind of handicapped our ability to handle with people. At least me, it definitely hasn't helped. Um, so I know that that's a lot more than 2 sentences, but I don't know if I could have simplified it as well as that.
I Yeah, I understand. What about you, Carter? If you could describe or if you could summarize Inside in less than 2 sentences, then what would you say?
Madman stays inside and goes insane. Writes funny songs.
That's a way simpler than Kate's explanation, but both are valid. They're both
No,
good.
I like your explanation.
Yeah, so as Carter said, over the span of a year in quarantine, Bo isolates himself and made this special.
But
So
he
in
didn't do
this
it on
special,
purpose.
what do you mean?
Like, he
Well,
didn't
yeah, you're right. But he is isolated.
yeah.
He's isolated from everyone else. And in his special, we are shown his deteriorating mental health, which is something I'm sure we can all relate to as we have been isolated in our homes.
I don't think
And
that it's very like, it was real. That I think was the best thing about it. It's like you
ooh,
could
okay,
tell
that's
that it
interesting because we will get it. We will have a discussion about that soon.
yeah.
Also, another thing I wanted to point out was that so like you said, like he like obviously he didn't isolate himself on purpose, but he did give himself a message for a reason that I will talk about later. But he did give himself a mission. I mean, because he wanted to finish the special, like no matter how long it takes and stuff. Like he wanted to be productive and do something. He wanted to channel his.
That was something else, his issue with productivity, like, some days he felt like he was useless and wasn't doing anything at all. I remember, like, the video game streaming part of that covered that a lot, where it's just
Yeah,
like, wake up, cry, try to play on the piano, go to bed.
that's my life except the piano part.
Cry.
Okay, so yes. So, okay, so this is really cool, I think. So all the songs were written, sung, and produced by Bo Burnham, which is impressive. And also, he did the cinematography, choreography, editing, lighting, and basically everything else. So he did all this himself. No outside help, you know?
Or influence.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
It's like
that's not true. There is influence. There's tons of influence because, like, what else would he comment on if he had no influence?
no, dude, he did that one thing where like you take away all your senses and then he just made something from that.
The sensory deprivation thing. I that
Yeah.
would that would actually make you go insane. I think that's another reason why people are having so many mental health issues because, like, it's extremely valid that people would have mental health issues when being isolated for a year. I mean, people being isolated for even like 3 days drives them crazy. Our brains are wired to be social animals, so of course we would have issues when we're isolated that long.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so yeah, we're definitely not made to isolate ourselves, especially like we had to do. And it's even worse because it's like you cannot really like at least in the midst of the pandemic, it was like if you did go outside and stuff, you would die. So it's like you have to stay inside. You're forced to stay inside.
And
The pandemic.
I know that this is like probably this is a political opinion, so I will just say disclaimer: this is something I hold and isn't something that I assume that Zach and Carter hold as an opinion. But I would say that I mean, if you have, I mean, not everybody has because some people are less isolated than others. But I know for me, I was very isolated even beforehand. But that's a different thing. But I would say that if you want proof that isolation or what is it called? What are those cells where people are separated in prison and put in those? What are they called?
Solitary
Mm,
confinement.
Solitary
yeah.
confinement. That if you want proof why that's a bad thing and why that is a horrible thing to do to somebody, look at the pandemic. Look how many people have issues with depression and anxiety now. I mean, and it's if you think that's bad, somebody with no stimulation, no access to people at all. At least you could talk to people online. But I mean, I'm just saying, you think that's bad. Think about what people in solitary confinement are going through. So, just a little point.
Yeah, that's true. Oh God, can you just imagine that like all that time with your brain to only think and not you could do nothing else?
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
would
fucking
I
going
would go
through.
insane. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay, so okay, so I had you guys sum up, give a synopsis in less than 2 minutes, but I want you to tell me without spoiling too much. I want you guys to give me your initial impressions. So like what you thought about like the lighting, the cinematography, the music, stuff like that.
Carter, you can go first if you want.
Uh, it's a lot better than I could do. That's really all I have to say.
Well, he does.
Okay.
I mean, but that's not fair of you because, first of all, he's much older and has been doing this for a lot longer than you have. So I don't think that's fair for you to say that about yourself. You shouldn't compare
Fine.
yourself to him.
It looks near professional, like
It
an
does. It
extreme
really does.
hobbyist.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like he has all this equipment that we see and stuff, but it's still like
And he has
it's
a
nothing
projector,
compared
doesn't
to
he?
like he has a what?
He has a projector that he uses for like almost everything, and he uses it differently every time, which I thought was really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's what I like about this so much is that he utilizes the tools he has in such inventive ways that it makes it seem like it's fresh or new. But anyway, you go ahead, Kate.
I don't know. I'm not. I kind of absorb an experience like all at the same time. So it's more of one of those things where I couldn't dissect everything to you because I don't experience it as like the music and the visuals as a separate thing from what is going on in the movie or like what's being said. So I don't know if I
Right.
could but from what I remember, I would say I really enjoyed it because I mean the music was a little bit obvious because it was like its own thing. Like it was, he was singing. It wasn't just like a score that was in the back of like something happening. But I think that there was different songs because I know there was like the song about the internet. I thought it was really catchy. I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite song in that movie. And I thought that had a really good message that a lot of people don't think about or think about as much as they should. Um, but then there were also songs like White was called White Woman's Instagram. I thought that was really funny too. But that
It
was
was
like
sad.
yeah, but see, that's the thing. He's honestly somewhat of a genius because he's able to like be comedic, but also infuse like I mean, I haven't. This is the only thing from him I've absorbed, so I could be wrong, but he's able to like infuse like these lessons or these messages into comedy in a way that isn't distasteful, where it isn't like shoving it in your face. It isn't like somebody. It's not like a lot of things we see now where it's like it kind of forces it in your face, you know? Like he does it
Yeah.
in a way where it's like, "Oh yeah, I can get what he's saying, but it doesn't sound pretentious." Like you know, and so I like those songs for different reasons. You know, I like the White Woman Instagram song because I thought it was funny, and I also thought that it was cool that he was like doing all of those like very those things that they would do, you know, like how he's dressing in all those different outfits and doing all those different like filters and the pumpkins and shit. Um, but then he also had that thing at the end that you talked about where he was like completely like where acting as this white woman and like just out of nowhere said something that was like when he was talking about like how he was missing his mom or missing their mom and their dad, right? And that's like it's kind of hard to explain because I'm dumbing it down, but I really like how it came off because I didn't even notice this. Zach told me after the movie, but because I was just kind of confused. I thought it was a joke or something, but it kind of also criticizes how you know how you're oversimplifying these women just based off of what you see, and you don't think that like there's anything beneath that, like that they're only you know that they're not deep at all when they do have these issues. And I don't know if I explained that perfectly, but I thought that the way that he dealt with it was something that could make me laugh and also something that would make me think and go, oh yeah, I didn't think about that before, but also wasn't pretentious and or at least it didn't make me go like, oh my god, I'm so sick of this, you know.
Yeah, I definitely see that. You're right. I think that was a really good explanation. Um, okay, so yeah, so Bo Burnham says himself that the special will be all over the place, which is true, but it does have some very significant themes. And I would argue that the main themes he talks about are, and you guys could disagree with me or add your own after this, after I say mine, because I'm definitely welcome to it. He talks about comedy, the internet, and isolation. I would sum up like the three major themes as that, right? Do you guys agree or disagree, or do you want to add more or whatever?
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much. I mean, there
I would
are literally
also
two songs.
I would
Uh,
also
the, the,
add mental health and how society deals with the idea of mental health.
Yeah. Also, it's interesting that something you said earlier, Kate, whenever you were describing your initial impression, you said that what was it? You talked about oh yeah, you talked about how he used like comedy in a way that was like it was different. I think that's what you said, something like that. And I
Like
will
how he
point out,
infused like
yeah,
comedy with like a lesson to be learned that was put he does it in such a way where it doesn't come off as pretentious as most people when they do that. Like he's
well,
like one of the very few people that I would say that like you're able to put a purpose behind that comedy as well and not have it come off as pretentious like other people do.
you're right, and I'm actually going to explain why it probably doesn't come out as pretentious. I have a reasoning why for that because he has this very apparent technique he uses in comedy. Um but it works, but he also explains that it doesn't work and you should not like you should not forgive him for anything he does because he uses that technique in comedy just because it seems
Yeah,
clever.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'll get into it later. I'll get into it later. Okay, so well, let's start off with the oh yeah, okay. So the best way I can describe this special is if we go song by song, reviewing the songs and explaining how it connects to the entirety of the special. I am not going to spend too long on each on each song just because I don't want to like bore you guys. but I will point out some interesting things that happen and the meaning of it.
Okay.
Okay, so and just so you know, I'm using the soundtrack to organize this, which is on Spotify and other streaming services, but it is different from the Netflix version because it's the soundtrack for this doesn't include the skits and stuff, and it's only 53 minutes as opposed to the soundtrack, or as opposed to the actual Netflix special, which is an hour and 24 minutes. So, just like I would definitely recommend watching it. You know. Okay, so through the course of the special, we see a man descend into madness. Bo is isolated from the world, performing the special in his house, and he's the only one working on this. And as the special passes and time passes, we see his hair and beard grow, and we also get reminders of his mental state through his songs and skits. So, the first song, which is titled Content, it begins with Bo sitting in a dark room with a light to his left. He's wearing a white t shirt and shorts. He has a light attached to his head, but it is turned off. And interestingly enough, remember how I pointed out earlier that at the end of Make Happy, his last special, he walked behind stage, he played a song on a piano, and then he left.
Yeah.
He exited. Yeah. Well, that room is actually the same room that he films Inside in,
Oh, cool.
which I thought was really cool. I think it's significant too because it kind of like, you see him at the end of Make Happy perform a song and then walk out of this room into the sunlight to see his wife and dog, like his source of happiness. But in Inside, he's more or less isolated inside this room. So he kind of returned, but he's like, he's not happy and stuff, obviously.
Yeah. Some content.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I do like how Bo does certain things. There's like a very apparent. There's a very like you could almost, if you watch his stuff back to back throughout his entire career, you could tell that there are techniques he uses that make him different from other comedians. Okay, so like I said, the first song is Content. It plays, and this song he basically explains the difficulty of doing everyday things while also introducing the also introducing the audience to the fact that he made us new content, which is cool. It has a synth heavy beat, but it's kind of catchy, And this is when we're greeted with our first taste of the special's excellent cinematography and lighting. So on the last verse of the song, like I said, he has the light on his head, but it's not turned on, or it is turned on at that point. But there's also a disco ball up ahead, and it's just the light to his left, like a dim light to his left on,
Oh, yeah,
and
that
there's
was
the light.
really cool.
Yeah, there's a light on his head on, and he looks up while singing and stuff, and the camera zooms up, and it hits the light that he has on his head hits the disco ball hanging from the ceiling, and then the disco ball creates this like mesmerizing pattern across the wall, and it's like it's such a simple thing, but it like does wonders for the it does wonders for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finally, the song ends with just Bo. This was also a cool transition I picked up after rewatching it. Whenever he looks down with the light on his head, the light like goes over the camera and it transitions to like a bright inside area, like the day. And that's when we get our title card, and it says Inside. So what did you think of this first song, guys? Do you remember it?
I remember it pretty well.
I
I remember it was catchy. I enjoyed it.
It is
No,
very catchy.
I honestly don't remember it at all. I mean, I remember what you're talking about, but I don't remember what the song was like or what it sounded like at all.
Oh yeah,
You didn't
I
go
get
back
that.
and listen to the soundtrack just because the songs are also catchy?
I
I
can't.
did.
I
I've
think
listened to the soundtrack several times now, dude.
I
It's
mean,
that good.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. I mean, from what I remember, yeah.
Okay, you may remember this next song. So this song is the next song, called Comedy, is prefaced with a montage of Bo experimenting with his equipment. So it shows him messing with his equipment and stuff. It plays some weird like lo-fi synthy music.
Hmm.
And then once the second song begins, we see Bo having a crisis over whether or not comedy is right for this COVID riddled world.
I
Like
do
he's
remember
like, the lyrics say the world is changing, the planet's heating up, what the F is going on? And then he mentions all these things that are happening that are bad in the world. And he says, should I be joking at a time like this?
that. Oh, I
Like
like that song a lot.
like how's comedy going to help, you know? So he has some self-doubt, but then there's like this heaven, there's this like heaven related light, which I will get into another theory later, but there's like this bright heaven light. It's like an angel shining on Bo's face, right?
Yeah.
And he realizes like, you know what? Comedy will help the world, you know? So he realizes his purpose and he's like,
But it doesn't he say in a way where it's like, does it though? You know, because he's kind of being like cynical.
yeah, he's being very cynical. But one of the common lines through the song is healing the world with comedy from a white guy like me, which like you said, it
Like something I like this line a lot. I can't remember something metaphorically, literally metaphorically. What was it?
oh yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, healing the world with comedy, making a literal difference metaphorically, which I thought was that was a really funny and interesting like line, right? Because it's like it opposes each other. It contrasts, you know. It's like a juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Juxtaposed.
so like I said, the line healing the world with comedy from a white guy like me, it's fun. It works so well because he pokes fun at his own privilege, but he also utilizes his greatest strength through the special, which is self-awareness. And this is the thing that I think propels Bo Burnham to like just whole new levels of funniness, I guess. So he uses self-awareness a lot, but it's mixing with the comedy, so you're bound to find some level of connectivity because by him like realizing certain things about himself, then you're like, yeah, that's true. Like it's not one-sided, it's on this deeper level. Another tactic he uses is subversion in this song. So he says one of the lines he says is a Jewish man walks into a bar and I saved him a seat, which is hilarious because you expect him to like make a joke about, you know, the Jewish man, but he just says that he saves him a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean to point out tiny things, but I just think it's so funny.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. We're analyzing it, right?
Yeah. So Bo expresses his need to change the world with comedy, and even if it is a niche thing that won't help much, he wants to find some use for it. So
I,
yeah, that's
I disagree with him. I do see what he means, but I don't think he addresses this. The whole point of comedy existing is because, I mean, to make people laugh. I mean, it sounds like it should be more than that, but that's really what it is because the world the world's a depressing place. How the hell else are we gonna not like go mad from how depressing it is, other than like making jokes about it? I mean, that's the whole purpose of it. So I think like, and he doesn't. I don't. I mean, correct
what
me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember if he ever actually addresses that fact that like the whole purpose of comedy is to make people happy. You know, to kind of. Well, I mean, he also uses
he
it.
points out comedy, like I think he explains that comedy is helpful, but he also, I'm gonna read off this bridge and it kind of points out that like comedy isn't really helpful for everything. So he says, if you wake up in a house that's full of smoke, don't panic, call me and I'll tell you a joke. If you see white men dressed in white cloaks, don't panic, call me and I'll tell you a joke.
Oh yeah. So I see.
Like,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. Also, one of my favorite lines from this song is, if you start to smell burning toast, you're having a stroke or overcooking your toast. And it's just, I don't know, I love it because it's just so simple, but it's like it's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you guys remember that song? And if you
I
do,
do.
what do you think of it?
I thought it was a good song. It wasn't my favorite, but it was pretty catchy.
I
Right?
remember it's probably one of the songs I remember the least because it was right at the beginning and not one of the ones I listened to like on Spotify. But
Yeah.
if I remember right, I did like it. Thought it was funny, but like not my favorite out of it.
Yeah, that's understandable. It's like more of a song that basically gets everything together. So this next song is called FaceTime with My Mom Tonight, and it's a slow poppy song.
I
And Bo
didn't.
talks about setting aside time to FaceTime with his mom, you know. And it's also cool because it plays with the aspect ratio a bit. It makes the aspect ratio the same on a phone, you know. So it's like it's in that same like view, like it's like he is FaceTiming with his mom. Yeah, so he basically proceeds to say all the things that she'll do, like my mother's covering her camera with her thumb and stuff like that, you know, just like things that moms do because they don't know how to use technology. And
Yeah.
it's a nice song. It's like set aside time to, you know, just spend time with your family. But that song, well, okay, so what do you guys think of that song? I thought it was pretty nice. It wasn't my favorite, like sound wise, but it was still a good song.
It's actually one of my least favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I didn't really like. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just didn't. I don't like it.
Yeah, but this next song, it's crazy, dude. So the next the next song is called "How the World Works." And this one's a doozy. So
Oh, I
in
like
this
this song
song,
a lot.
Bo parodies like a song at a child show, like Mr. Rogers, Blue's Clues, Barney, something like that.
Mhm.
And he talks about how the world is, and he explains how it is, and he brings out his sock puppet named Sako.
I remember this.
Yeah, so basically Bo introduces the song. He's like, the world that's around us is pretty amazing, but how does it work? It must be complicated. And then he explains how the world works, like bees and flowers and stuff like that. And then he brings out Sako, and then he's like, hey Sako, can you describe how the world is? And Sako's like, I don't know if I could do that. It's like you probably already explained everything. But then Sako just goes off, dude. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna say some things he says. So he says, the world is built with blood and genocide and exploitation. The FBI killed Martin Luther King. Private property is inherently theft. Neoliberal fascists are destroying the left. Every politician, every cop on the street protects the interests of the pedophilic corporate elite. And that's just like, okay, wow, that's not what I expected.
I wonder if those things are things that he actually believes.
I don't know. Some of it seems pretty like conspiracy theory wise. Like the FBI killed Martin Luther King. Like that's I don't know much about that, so I can't really comment about it. But
Yeah. I mean,
um
they've done worse. No, I don't know. It's a joke.
yeah.
That is just a joke. We are still on
Don't
the
kill us,
FBI
FBI.
watch list.
Yeah.
Don't shoot us with that gun that has ice bullets that melt. That have that. What is it like the shellfish?
Are you talking about the JFK thing? Or no?
Is
Is
that
that
it?
a different
No,
thing?
no, because
I was confused because
they made a
yeah.
gun that shoots ice bullets that melt and give people heart attacks with shellfish
Tell them about
poison.
shellfish.
Yeah.
I think that FBI did attack us already because I think they threw their gay bomb on us.
Yeah.
Okay, and then oh yeah, and then the last part is like Bo Burnham's like, "Wow, that's crazy." And then he's like, "What can I do to help?" And then Sako's like, "Read a book or something. I don't know. Just don't burden me with your responsibility of educating you. It's incredibly exhausting." And then it's like, "I'm sorry, Sako. I'm just trying to become a better person." And then Sako's like, "Why do you rich effing white people insist on seeing every socio-political conflict through the myopic lens of your own self-actualization? This
I
isn't about you.
know! Oh my
So either
god,
get with it or get out of the fucking way."
that
And
hurt
that's
me
just like,
so much.
it's like true though, It's like I'm
No,
not saying it.
it's true, but I mean, it's like it's hurtfully so. I mean,
Sako, yeah,
I'm not
Sako's
rich,
spitting out the
but
hard
like
truth.
I'm not rich, but I do think that there is a ton of truth in that. At least
I
from
think that like it's not mainly limited to rich white people, but people do want to make conflicts about themselves in a way, who are involved. Like they want to be like, yes, this conflict will help me grow because I will realize that it's a certain way.
and that also, I mean, I mean, I don't know. Can you blame people that though? Because I mean, that's kind of how society has made us to be. I know, like I hate saying like, "Oh, society," but I mean, what else would you say?
Society.
But the
Yeah.
whole thing I'm saying is like especially American culture is designed around the whole idea of like everyone being their own individual and own superstar as opposed to like, I mean,
Yeah, rugged individualism.
yeah, which is good in some aspects, but bad in others. So
I think
take
it's
that.
bad in a lot of aspects. I think it's just like super. I think at the time it was necessary to be like, survive by yourself because it was better. But now we're definitely far away from that. But regardless, Sako does raise some points, and that causes Bo Burnham to murder him. So that's cool.
He doesn't murder him.
murder
He
him.
puts him back in like what is
The
it like
void.
some sort of horrible
Yeah,
limbo.
liminal state between states of being. It's like being in a constant state of sleep paralysis. I
I mean,
thought that, yeah.
I think, I mean, I have you guys ever had sleep paralysis?
Yeah.
Yes, and it's horrifying. Just imagine having that constantly. Like, oh my god.
Sleep paralysis is the worst, but you know what is the worst part of it is like the the aspect, at least I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but for me, the worst thing for me about sleep paralysis is like how you just can't breathe. I hate it.
Yes, right? It's like, oh my god. I was gonna say that exact thing. It's scary because you think you're
Yeah.
gonna die, but you can't move.
Yeah. I think yeah, it's
Okay.
so awful.
It's crazy too because I don't even have sleep paralysis until somebody talks about it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm kidding, but okay. So I'm guessing you guys had a generally good view on that song, right? It was good.
It was
Yeah.
funny, and I wanted more of that joke.
Yeah. Okay. So this next song is called "White Woman's Instagram," and this is what Kate talked about earlier. So it's basically
That song
it's Bo taking the perspective of a white woman who talks about all these stereotypical things that white women do, right? Like an avocado, a poem written in the sand, you know. And it one of the cool things about it is that the aspect ratio of it is the same aspect ratio that most Instagram posts are in, so the square aspect ratio. But then in the middle of the song, there's like a whole nother bridge that's like it talks about that woman who Bo's playing that says like, "Hey, I can't believe you've been dead, Mom. I miss you, and you know, I life is so hard without you, but I'm doing it, and I, you know, stuff like that." And it just like Kate said, like Kate said that I said that, yeah, or something. Um, it basically like it opens up this whole new perspective to her because we've like generalized people, you know,
Yep.
so you know, but we see this deeper part of her. And also whenever they did that bridge, the aspect ratio goes to full screen or widescreen, which is like it represents that like this is
Real.
her whole part. Yeah, it's real. I think
But
you
it was
explained it way
real.
better than I did, but yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I I want to speak a little bit about this, and you know, this is something I'm just gonna like be completely honest. I don't mean to hurt people with it with what I'm gonna say, and it's not that bad what I'm gonna say, but just so you know, I'm not like trying to hurt anybody with it. But I you know, with like people like, you know, I mean, well, I completely understand these certain groups of people, you know, oppressed people want to free themselves from oppression, right? I completely am for that. I'm not saying that's bad. But at the same time, I do understand what he means, and what I think is what he was trying to say, and what you said too was, while that is important, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting that that doesn't mean that everyone else that isn't oppressed has just a great life, or that they are these only like these people are only like skin deep, you know, like they're not anything at all. Like all they are is just what their stereotypes are, which is kind of ironic that I'm saying that, you know. And I think that applies to you know, the white woman Instagram thing. I think that's what he was trying to say, at least, is that like we're getting so caught up with these certain movements, and not that they're bad or anything, but that we're forgetting about that to a certain extent, everybody needs some care, you know, which I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel like that opinion is hard to have, because then people say, well, then so you're saying that you're against this movement, this movement, this movement? No, 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 not at all. I think that everything that is happening now, all these movements to free, you know, oppressed groups of people, who no matter who that may be, I think that's a great thing, and that should not stop. But I think also that we shouldn't forget, you know, I think that we should acknowledge everyone's feelings at the same time, which is what he was trying to say. I mean, maybe he wasn't. I don't know if that was my perception.
Yeah. You're right. I think a lot of it is like open to interpretation, but I think that there's like a general idea of what Bo wants us to think. So after this song plays, we see and this is one of the only times I'll bring it up because it happens quite a bit. But we see Bo editing or reviewing what he just recorded, so there's like moments of silence of him just watching what he recorded, editing it and stuff like that. And then we get a really short song, like 30 seconds, about an unpaid intern. So it's like Bo singing about like, I'm an unpaid intern, and then he like scats, like at the end, which is cool.
Yeah.
But
then he reacts to it, right?
yeah, the notable part of
Yeah.
that is that it shows Bo reacting to it, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this reaction because people do it, and I
Oh,
thought I
yeah,
could
yeah,
give
yeah.
some insight about it." So he reacts to it. He's like, "Yeah, so I thought it'd be cool to do a song like this and stuff, and I like how um I like how I cut out at the end at the end when I'm scatting. I thought that was funny. I like doing stuff like that. And then it shows him reacting to. Okay, so the video ends. The video of him singing ends. So it shows him reacting to the video
Of him
that he. Yeah. So basically, it's like him. There's him, and then he's reacting to the reaction of his reaction. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And so
Does that
at this point, he's like he's basically reviewing what he said like in his reaction. So he's like, I'm being a little pretentious. It's an instinct I have where I need everything that I write to have some deeper meaning or something. But it's a stupid song and it really doesn't mean anything. And it's pretty unlikable that I feel this desperate need to be seen as intelligent, right? So that he's responding to his reaction with that. And that's the first level of self-awareness, I would say. Because one really good thing Bo does is be self-aware, and this is him being self-aware, right?
And then
But then we get a whole nother thing where Bo Burnham is reacting to his reaction of the original song, and in this thing he says, I'm criticizing my initial reaction for being pretentious, which is honestly a defense mechanism. I'm so worried that criticism will be levied against me that I levy it against myself before anyone can. And I think that, if I'm self-aware about being a douchebag, it'll somehow make me less of a douchebag. But it doesn't. Self-awareness doesn't absolve anyone of anything. And I think this is so genius because it's like he's self-aware, but then he's self-aware about his own self-awareness. And then on a whole nother layer, he's like, this self-awareness isn't good. Like it's just making me seem like I'm this different person. Like it's making me seem less of a douchebag. And I think this can honestly like sum
didn't
up.
he go more into it?
No, he was just 3 screens into it. 3 screens and then the song into it. But I think that this perfectly kind of sums up his humor in this special, because he uses self-awareness a lot. But okay, so the intriguing thing about self-awareness is that when somebody's self-aware, it makes us like them more, because like you said before, like if somebody was talking about these issues, they would kind of seem pretentious, especially if they're not somebody who is able to talk about these issues. But if you're self-aware about it, then it makes it seem like you're more like, oh, like he's deeper than this. He's not just being pretentious. He has the ability to like recognize what he's doing wrong and stuff, But Bo takes it to a whole nother level where he's self-aware about his self-awareness, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing this because it's a defense mechanism, but it doesn't absolve me of anything. And that's just genius to me.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, and then we get into this really cool song that's not really important for the plot, but it's Jeffrey Bezos. So he's
CEO, entrepreneur,
yeah,
born
he basically
1964.
he makes Jeffrey Bezos seem like a really cool guy,
I don't even
And
think he does. He just, he kind of hypes him up, but he doesn't say he doesn't say anything technically that makes him up to be this great guy.
you're right. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. He hypes him up. He really does hype him up. And then at the end, we have this really cool synth solo.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It is awesome. And then our next song is called "Sexting," which is it's really cool too. So basically, it's him being like, he's basically like, hey, we should sex, and okay. First, he explains the process of sexting.
I
So
like
he's
that
like,
song the least.
yeah, so he's like, we'll use emojis first, and then they use emojis to do it, and it's pretty funny. And then he talks about talking, and It's not really significant in the entire plot, I would say, but it is funny, and it comes after in Unpaid Intern. He's like after he's like laying down and stuff, just realizing life. He talks about how corporations always have a need to like be a part of everything, right? But then at the end, he's just like, I'm horny, and he sings a song about sexting, but it's not that significant. Now we get to a more significant song called Who's Inside Again. So, in this song called Look Who's Inside Again," Bo contemplates if it's possible to be funny when stuck in a room, and he relates this to when he was a little kid. And upon doing research for this, I didn't realize it, but I think he's mainly talking about whenever he was posting videos on YouTube whenever he was 16, because he was like, he was a kid and he was singing songs and stuff like that, and he was, yeah,
Yeah.
I would have more to say, but yeah. And it also kind of refers to depression and anxiety and feelings like that, especially when you're a kid, because you don't really have anything, you don't have a way to cope with that. And at the end of the song, we do see a Bo sitting there watching a projection of himself that's projected onto his own stomach or something like that, where he is a teenager singing. So it's like one of his original videos that made him. And that leads us to the next song, Problematic. So it's basically think like your exercise song,
Problematic.
right? But he talks about himself being problematic. So he talks about how he wore an Aladdin costume when he was like 17, and
It
he's
talks
like, that's
about burning it, but I'm not sure if
yeah,
I should.
yeah, he's like, I should burn it, but I'm not sure. Wait, what do I do with it? I'm not sure what do I do. And then he's like, times are changing, I'm getting old. Are you gonna hold me accountable? And I think this mainly relates to whenever he was releasing videos as a YouTuber as a 16-year-old, because some of his stuff, I wouldn't say it is like wrong. It is kind of, it wouldn't sit today. So like one of his most popular songs, it talks about him being his family thinking he's gay or something. And I guess like if you look to previous interviews, he says that he isn't proud of that song. So I think it's kind of relating back to his past and all the stuff he's done. But
Well,
it does bring a level. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, and I think like this is probably something he was addressing too, but like kind of what we find funny changes. I mean, I remember I know in the early 2000s it was very funny to be like outrageous and say things that were not okay or whatever, and that's not the same thing now. I mean, it was funny back then to like, make fun of other cultures. It's not the same anymore, but I think people miss that. People think that like first of all, they think that everybody's the same. They hold the same thing that they said all those years ago if they did say something like that. And second of all, they fail to realize that like times change and so does comedy. How people handle it and what's okay and not okay to say changes too.
Yeah. And also I think that like I don't think Bo completely, I think Bo criticizes both sides, because he does say like I did these things and you should hold me accountable, but I think he also criticizes how easy it is to be held accountable. So in one of the verses he says he says basically, I've done a lot of self-reflecting since I started singing this song. I was totally wrong when I said it. And I think that kind of it basically says like, oh yeah, I've changed since I started singing this song right here. Um, and then he is self-aware again, because he talks about how in his childhood he would do this stuff that he should be held accountable for, but then he's like, I feel like I must be held accountable for the lyrics in the previous verse. I tried to hide behind my childhood, and that's not okay. So it's like another layer of self-awareness. Um,
I mean, that's not a fair thing to say though, because like when you're a kid, you think differently. I mean, your brain isn't even fully developed yet, so I don't. I think. I mean, of course, he's going to think that because he's himself and he's going to criticize himself, even though he was a kid. But I think that he does have somewhat of an excuse because of how young he was.
yeah, I do think he pretty much like everything so far. I think he does a good job at handling it. Like he does it appropriately. He presents both sides of the argument sometimes. I don't think there's anything you could fault him for.
And he's
And
certainly
then,
grown for it. I mean, it seems like he has.
oh, for sure, I would 100% agree with that. in this next song, it's called 30, and at this point, Bo reveals that he's been working on this special for 6 months now. And it is 11:58. There are 2 minutes left. He talks to the audience. There are 2 minutes left before he turns 30, before it hits midnight. And he says that his goal was to finish this before he turned 30 years old. And he's like, and they're like, he says, Bo, but you radiate such youth. And he's like, well, I'm 29, and stuff like that. But then he has this really cool song where he's basically naked. He has underwear on, and he sings about turning 30. And the only lighting in this is this light that he's holding in his hand, right? But he spins it around himself, and it's really cool because it like, do you guys remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not the only light though. That's the main light. There are
That's the
some
main
color
light.
lights that he changes with the foot pedals.
You're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. But I think it does a really good job because it's like he's created, because whenever he spins this light around himself that he is holding in his hand, it creates like these shadows on the walls and stuff, and it looks really interesting. And it's funny because it ends with him talking about how he's 30 now, and in 10 years when he's 30, when he's 40, he's gonna kill himself.
Then
But
he goes
then
on to
it
say,
gets-
no, don't actually kill yourself. He was like, no, please don't do that.
Yeah, it does, but it gets weird because it's like, I would say that previous Bo, like from like a few years ago, would be like, yeah, or anyone else basically would be like, I was joking about that. Please do not kill yourself. That would be horrible. Like, seek help if you're unhappy. But this Bo, he's like, this Bo's kind of like, don't do that. That's fucking dumb. He just doesn't care, which is like, yeah, like he doesn't know how to properly comfort these feelings and stuff, I would say.
And he also says, and this is something that resonated with me, it's like, it'd be different if you could just, like, kill yourself and come back, like, if you could kill yourself for a year, I'd totally do that. And that's something I think all the time. If I could just kill myself for a certain amount of time, I'd totally do that, but that's not how it works. When you kill yourself, you're gone. That's it. There's not
Yeah,
no
like a deep sleep.
yeah, no retries, yeah, that's it. But I mean, like, God, just for a year.
For a year.
Seriously, I totally get that.
Carter, if you could stop existing for a certain period of time, how long would you stop existing for?
3 months.
3 months? Okay. Oh wow, that's not depressing at all.
Would you age?
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
10
Because you wouldn't
years.
exist. You would just fade out of reality and just skip to,
I would be like
yeah.
a Thanos snap. I wonder how that felt.
Yeah.
It probably felt like nothing because like they didn't
It-
even like it was just like that second that they're back. That was how it always was. It's like
Yeah, I mean, you see it in the movie. They realize, like, where are we? Like, what happened? They don't realize the entire, like, all
it
these
had
people.
like 5 years. Yeah. No, I want something where it's like a deep sleep, but that's probably what it wouldn't be. It probably would be like what you say, like where it's just like, oh, I'm back now. That felt like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so this next song is called Don't Want to Know, and he basically just talks about not wanting to know what he asks people what they think of the special so far, but then he also says that he doesn't want to know because, he doesn't want criticism. And then the next song is called Shit, and he talks about, okay, well, the first thing is Bo parodies video game streamers because he's playing a game, right? But the game is himself that he filmed and stuff. And it is like all you can do in the game is cry, sit down, play piano. And I think it basically sums up how he feels because like he's happy whenever he plays piano, but right after that he cries again and stuff. And then in the song Shit, he basically describes his mental state as, can you guess what his mental state is?
Depressed.
It's shit, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next song, it's also kind of in the same vein because he just talks about being at an all-time low. A song called All Time Low. And then we get to, I guess, one of the more significant songs called Welcome to the Internet.
Yes.
And this song is,
Welcome
wow.
to the internet. Have a look around. Anything that brain of yours can think of can be found.
Yeah, so basically, good job, Carter. I like that, by the way.
Thanks.
So Bo describes the internet, it has a pretty bouncy beat. It's pretty, like, I would say wacky in the way it plays.
It reminds me of like Robbie Ron.
Yeah. And he just basically describes all the uses, but also all the bad things about the internet. So like one of the things is, would you like to see the news or any famous woman's feet? Would you like to
Would you like to
fight for
fight
civil
for
rights?
civil rights or tweet a racial slur?
Yeah.
Why do
Here's
people like
tips.
feet? You like
What do
feet? Do you guys like feet?
Chloe could actually tell
Not
you.
particularly.
Chloe told me that the thing that is attracted, the part of your brain that's attracted to things, and the part of your brain that I guess has
Knows
feet,
what
like
feet
something
are?
like that. They're very connected or something. So sometimes they could hate each other, and then you have a feet fetish.
Does
Feet
does she
fetish.
have a foot does she have a foot fetish?
No, I don't know if she does. I should ask her, I guess.
I did know that, but, I'm
Keep us
just I'm
updated.
wondering, like, what a person's reaction is, 'cause, like, I've always been like, "I'll try it," but then it never works out.
Yeah. So in the song he basically just he kind of juxtapose he contrasts a lot of things. So he says like here's a show us pictures of your children, tell us every thought you think, start a rumor, buy a broom, or send a death threat to a broomer. Some stuff like that,
What am I
And then
going to do is I'm refined to him.
yes. And then at the end, we kind of get to this interlude where it's like, it wasn't always like this. Before, the internet was big, there were only chat rooms and stuff, but then you were able to use your mom's iPad, and it's what we
Your ability
designed
to.
it to do. Yeah. And, now you have all this access to
"Ow,
everything on
look
the
at
internet.
you."
Now look at you. Yeah. And that was a pretty good song. I think I honestly, if I could ask a lot of people, I would say a lot of people consider that their favorite song.
Yeah,
What do you guys think?
Yep, my
my favorite
favorite.
song.
Dude, okay, I'm gonna get to my favorite song soon. And we're almost done with the songs. So the next song is Jeffrey Bezos 2, so it's basically like a sequel to the first Jeffrey Bezos, where he's just like Jeffrey Bezos. And then we
Jeffrey
get this
Bezos.
we get this slow guitar song that's like it talks about a lot of things that he finds funny. It's called That Funny Feeling. So he says stunning 8K resolution app meditation app. That's sorry, my bad. He says Deadpool self-awareness, loving parents, harmless fun, the backlash to the thing that's just begun. Uh he basically contrasts like all these things that he finds weird. Yeah, he says reading Pornhub's terms of service, going for a drive, and obeying all the traffic laws in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Dude, that
But then it gets a little bit more depressing because he talks about disassociation and googling derealization, and
what is dissociation? I'm not sure what that is.
um dissociation isn't. I think dissociation isn't that far away from derealization, but dissociation is basically where your mind disconnects. Like you may feel disconnected from your thoughts, feelings, emotions, stuff like that. Think of
Mm.
it as being numb.
Oh.
Like
Oh,
like you're not
okay.
you're let's say you're not connecting your mind to the real world, so you're not really able to perceive things for how they are. So you feel numb.
Cool, cool, cool.
And I think the song kind of goes into Bo's mental state the most, because it just talks about like it talks about how he feels, and it talks about how other people feel also. One of the saddest lines in though is what is it? It talks about a school shooting. Let me find it. Sorry, I don't mean to take so long.
Did you guys ever like because I remember, like, I'm sure people would know what this is because I know that like it kind of blew up in everybody's recommendations, but it was kind of like how to tell somebody's pretending to be crazy or whatever. It was
Yeah,
that one dude, I forgot what he was called. Um Man, I like binged all of his videos. I love them. But that like kind of reminded me like maybe a lot of the reason why there are school shooters is kind of like how glorified they are, and people don't necessarily they don't glorify them positively, but I mean, come on, they are recognized. They give them the platform to like show themselves, instead of like I feel like that's the exact opposite of what they need to do because I mean, like that kid that did that was part of that video. he recorded that thing on his phone, and he was like, "Heck yeah, I'm gonna be the next school shooter, woo!" You know, it's like some trend or some shit.
Woo!
You
I
know,
hope that's not a trend. God.
I mean, it
Ooh.
kind of is because I mean, he did it.
I
You
mean,
know?
okay, you know that TikTok quote trend where they make bombs and blow stuff up with like Coke bottles.
No,
I've never
I
heard of
don't know
that.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's apparently it's a quote trend. It's not a trend. It's just bombs.
Let's make bombs.
Let's
Yeah,
make
that's what they're
bombs.
doing.
Dude, we would have gotten in so much trouble at school because one of the things that the principal always said every year when we got our netbooks was, "Do not look up how to make bombs."
Did he actually?
Yeah,
Yeah, every year, whenever,
Did
because
was
apparently that
it?
was like one of the main
Did
things
you look
that they
up
were scared
porn?
of.
But
I did.
I don't. Did you? I never did, but I know that there was a couple kids
Well,
that did.
I didn't look up
what are we talking
porn
about?
Porn, looking at
on
porn
our
on the
school netbook.
I accidentally found some one time. Like I was
I
doing research for an art project. I was supposed to draw a character. I decided to draw someone from Star Wars, and I just looked up their name on Google, and I
oh, so
found a
well,
picture
that's
of them
not your fault
nude,
at
like
all.
without.
No,
What?
you know what's fucked up? So whenever I would go on websites and stuff, just to like, whenever you're doing an assignment for school and you need to find information about something, you go on websites. Well, the ads that they showed were literally like lewd as hell. They were like porn, basically. Like it wasn't a porn site. It was just a normal site, but it's like
Yeah, that would
fang
happen.
sex.
48
Yeah.
women are in your area craving your cock. You know.
I like the way you said that. Cack. Okay, anyway, so this song ends with him basically getting mad and he knocks over some of his equipment. And that's when we get to the next song, which is called All Eyes on Me. And this is probably my favorite song.
I like
So
that song a lot too.
so this song is essentially what ends the special on a powerful note. So there are these really apparent but slowly changing and powerful chords that play in the background, and we're greeted with Bo's voice, but it's modulated down. And I think the reasoning is because it isn't really Bo talking; it's more of his feelings of depression. And the lyrics basically call for the audience to put their hands up and have their eyes on him. And I think that's Bo's need to have the audience pay attention to him, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of like, as Bo has stated in prior specials, he's only there to make the audience happy. And if he doesn't do that, then, he's not really doing what he's there for. So they should hold him accountable for everything he does. And this is when, at the end of the song, Bo reveals to the audience that he started getting panic attacks after performing Make Happy in 2016. And this led him to quit stand up because he wanted to improve himself. So it's been 5 years since then. And he thought that he was going to return to stand up and stuff, But then the pandemic hit. Like, literally, like in January of 2020, he's like, I think I should do stand ups again. I think I'm ready for them. But then, nope, pandemic hit. And then he had to isolate himself,
Yep.
So that basically, like, that that reveals the kind of the main reason why he's doing this, because he wanted to channel all that energy into something else. And then we come to our final song called Goodbye, and Bo says goodbye to the audience, but he also wonders whether or not he did a good job entertaining them, and he also
Or if they-
reminisces upon his past. Yeah. And it combines several of his previous songs, like The Internet and Who's Inside Again, like some of the verses
Yeah.
do. And the special basically ends with a powerful ray of sunlight coming through the door of, his house, that door we always see. And Bo walks outside, but it turns out that ray of sunshine is actually a spotlight, and he's on a stage. And the audience is cheering for him, but he wants to go back inside, but the door is locked. So he's desperately trying to open the door to go back inside, and the audience is laughing at him. And it kind of ends on a negative note with that,
Yeah.
Wait, because I also remember at some point in the special, like it's like FBI outside. They're like, "We have you surrounded," something
What?
like that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
I
they do
remember
say
that.
that. I don't think they say FBI. They just say like.
No, it's not the FBI. There is somebody like the FBI that say, "We have you surrounded. Come
Is it
out."
at the very end?
Yeah, that
It's
actually
close
happens
to
multiple times.
Well, I know what happens in the song "Look Who's Inside Again." You know, like, well, look who's
yeah.
inside again, and it's
Oh,
like
that's
we have you
pretty cool
surrounded.
now that I remember it.
Yeah. Okay, so in several of the scenes, we see Bo accidentally knock over equipment or have an outburst of emotions. For instance, in that funny feeling, Bo gets mad after finishing the song and he knocks down his lights and cameras. And before the song 30 starts, he talks to the audience about how he's turning 30 in a couple of minutes. But, you know, he's like, I'm turning 30 in 2 minutes and stuff like that. And then I want to point out something. So in one of Bo's earlier specials, he has this bit where he comes out to the audience. You know, he has a bottle of water. He drinks it, and then he sets it on the stool. But then it falls off the stool, and he's like, "Whoa! I guess that's a great start to the special," or something like that. And the audience laughs. But then the intercom plays or something, and it's like, art is a lie, nothing is real. He intended to knock down that water bottle and stuff like that. and um and then yeah, so that kind of leads me to where I'm going. Do you think that these scenes are real? And
I
or
think
do you
some
think
of
they're
them are.
fake and took multiple shots? No, well, you think so? Cuz I kind of like I think Bo had a specific vision, and for stuff like 30 where he talked to the audience like 2 minutes before he turned 30, I think that would have been really hard to do like as he wanted to. I feel like he would have to do multiple shots for that.
No,
And the
okay.
same for whenever he knocked down the
I
equipment, I
think
think he did that on purpose.
I
Okay.
think that these things were done on purpose, but I think that the meaning and the feelings behind them were completely true. So
That's
when
yeah, that's what my next point was going to be. I was going to say like I was going to ask you if you think the scenes were real, and I was going to ask you, does it even matter if it's real?
not really. I
A
mean,
little
his
bit.
the whole purpose of it was to convey some sort of meaning to us, right? And how else is he gonna do that if he fucks up? So I completely get it. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
lot more real than a lot of shit in the world, I'll tell you that.
you're
But
right.
if it's not real, then it's a different meaning. Okay, like I think his intro thing where he's like welcomes everybody like, hey, yeah, I started this project and I intend to finish it. He says a lot. I think that was recorded first try without like much rehearsal. Like he just said, okay, I'm just gonna introduce the audience. I
I
didn't
mean, you
put
could
much
have
thought
said
into it.
on purpose.
I know. Like also that 30 part, I do think that was real also, but that he only had one chance to record it. So he probably rehearsed it a bunch of times before midnight, but I do think that he did it on midnight before his birthday, actually.
Yeah. Well, okay, so like you said, I think that there are different I think the impact of it may be different if you know it's fake, you know? Like his scene where when he sings in that funny feeling after he finishes it, he gets really like mad and he knocks down his equipment. Like if
Mhm.
that was fake, then would you have the same like if it was fake and you knew it was fake, would you have the same emotional response as, you know, as if it wasn't fake or if you didn't know it was fake?
I
Mm,
don't think it would because I thought it was
no,
real. It's
you
fake
know,
when I
I
rewatched it. So yeah.
So I think we can agree that it doesn't really matter if it's real or fake as long as we know that as long as we think that it is real. So we
Yeah.
could have that emotional impact.
I mean, his whole purpose was for that, right? To have that emotional impact, to be able to convey some sort of deeper meaning, right? So, regardless of how he gets there, as long as he accomplishes that goal, I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay. Okay, and also I wanted to point out this. So I think you could categorize the special as being what's it called? Poia minon. It's a Greek word for product, and it's defined as a specific type of metafiction in which the story is about the process of the creation. And we definitely see this several times throughout the special because he films himself editing and recording and stuff. You know, like it
Oh yeah,
isn't just limited to the skits. And
yeah.
I want to end off saying, what was your guys' favorite song? Was it "Welcome to the Internet"?
Yeah. 'Cause
Actually, now that I think about it a bit more, I would say that it was a three-way tie between that song where it's I forgot what the song was called, but the song where he's talking about like come out with your hands up or whatever.
All
Uh,
Eyes on Me. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that was the same because there was a different song that had that, didn't it?
No. There was a different song that had well, look who's inside again, if that's what you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. That song, All Eyes on Me, and the internet song. I think the three-way tie between those guys. Now that I remember.
Okay, and what was yours, Carter? Welcome to the internet.
Yeah, I have that song memorized, and I'm currently trying to learn it on piano so I can just play it in real time.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Also,
I hope they do it.
also, he had the sunglasses on and stuff in that music video, and he definitely looked like Heisenberg, like beard and everything, and hat, and yeah, or he didn't have a hat on, but still. All right, and I want you guys to, out of 10, I know it might be hard, but I want you to rate the music, and I also want you to rate the entire film with the skits and everything. Out of 10.
The music. Let's see. The music was an 8 out of 10. The
8 out of 10?
skits.
Okay.
The skits were 7 out of 10. So overall total of like 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. What about you, Kate?
Music. Shit. Um, I would say 7 out of 10, but I don't think that's fair because it's kind of I mean, I guess the whole point is it's our perspective or opinion or whatever. But I think objectively the music was really good. I think for me it just didn't resonate with me as much as it would with other people. But I would say the plot or like the film in general I really connected with, at least, with like the underlying mental issue stuff. So I would say that would definitely be like a 9.5 out of 10 for me because there was a
Yeah.
lot of issues that it brought up that was like, wow, like it got me thinking, which is not something a lot of films can do, which I really appreciated. So I think it definitely 9.5 out of 10.
That's a good rating. I would rate the music. I would rate the music an 8 out of 10, and I would rate the film a 9 out of 10. And this had really good reception when it came out. Like critics and fans liked it, and I think that we did too, which is good. And I think this just goes to show how talented Bo Burnham is. So that's all we have for today. I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't. It's really emotional and stuff. But if you want to just have
Yeah,
comedy,
pay attention because you really gotta. You can't be
phone
focusing.
out, yeah. Yeah, and if you just want the comedy though, then watch Make Happy or something. But yeah, I think that
First half
I
is
think
very comedy oriented.
yeah, I think Inside will be like analyzed and studied for like years to come by some people.
You think so?
Um,
People already
yeah, I
have.
think so. I
Have
just
any
like
videos come out on
the
it?
emotional impact or the like. I think it has kind of a deep meaning, and especially with the self awareness stuff. But yeah, so that's all we have for today. I hope you guys liked it. And this is Two People in a Podcast
And
signing
wait,
off.
wait, I do want to say though that I really did enjoy doing this, and I hope we get to do it again because we haven't really gotten a chance to do one of these kind of more review type episodes in a while.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.